Have you ever felt like you're playing a different game than everyone else? Not better, not worse, just different. While others follow the usual social playbook, you find yourself operating on a completely different wavelength. Welcome to the Sigma experience. These aren't your typical outsider struggles or introvert problems. They're the unique challenges that come with walking a path few others understand or choose to take. Dr. Michael Brooks, a social psychologist, notes, some individuals naturally develop patterns of thinking and behavior that don't align with conventional social hierarchies. They face unique challenges not because they're antisocial, but because they process the world differently. These aren't complaints or calls for sympathy. They're observations about a specific way of moving through the world, one that comes with its own set of interesting complications, whether you're a Sigma yourself or just curious about how they think. Understanding these challenges offers an eye-opening glimpse into a different way of experiencing life. Let's explore 7 problems Sigma males regularly face, not because they're trying to be different, but because they are different. And who knows, maybe you'll recognize some of these situations from your own life. Number 1. Being resented for their independence. Did you know that most people spend up to 80% of their decisions seeking others' approval? For Sigma males, this common behavior feels alien. They're built differently, naturally independent thinkers who trust their own judgment above the crowd's opinion. And surprisingly, this self-reliance often makes others deeply uncomfortable. If you're a Sigma, you know what it's like to be resented for your independence. Think about the last time you made a major life decision. While others were polling their friends, family, and even social media followers, you quietly weighed your options and chose your path. No committees, no group chats, no seeking validation. Just you and your carefully considered choice. Dr. Sarah Reynolds, who studies social behavior, explains, humans are naturally wired for social conformity. When a Sigma male demonstrates true independence, it triggers what we call autonomy anxiety in others, a discomfort with those who don't need group validation. This independence shows up everywhere in a Sigma's life. He'll take that job across the country if it aligns with his goals, regardless of others' opinions. He'll end relationships that don't serve his growth, even when everyone tells him to make it work. He stays focused on his path, while others get lost in group politics. The pushback comes in subtle forms. People start labeling him as weird or antisocial. They try to create dependencies where none exist. Some even attempt to shake his confidence, suggesting that his self-reliance is actually a weakness. What's interesting is how this resentment often comes from those closest to him. Friends who once admired his independence start seeing it as a threat to their influence. Family members who should celebrate his self-sufficiency instead try to fix him. But here's what they don't understand. A Sigma male's independence isn't about rejecting others. It's about being complete on his own. It's not a wall he's built. It's who he is. Number 2. Small talk feels pointless and draining. Every morning, the same neighbor waves from their driveway with the same comment about the weather. The office hallways buzz with identical conversations about weekend plans and TV shows. The coffee shop line moves slowly as people exchange rehearsed pleasantries about nothing in particular. This social script plays on repeat, day after day. Words float through the air without meaning or purpose, filling silence simply because silence makes people uncomfortable. The answers are automatic, the questions predictable, the whole exchange as bland as unseasoned food. While others seem to draw energy from these surface-level exchanges, Sigma males experience them like a slow leak in their mental battery. Each pointless conversation drains a little more energy, leaving them tired from talking about everything while saying nothing. Deep thinkers by nature, Sigma males crave substance in their interactions. The constant stream of shallow chatter feels like reading the same page of a book over and over. Time-consuming, but ultimately meaningless. They can play along, nodding at the right moments, and giving expected responses, but the whole performance feels hollow. But watch what happens when the conversation suddenly turns real. When someone unexpectedly shares an original thought or asks a genuine question. The Sigma male comes alive, engaged by the chance for actual connection. Because the problem was never about being social, it was about wasting energy on conversations that lead nowhere. Number 3. Their direct communication offends the insecure. Imagine telling someone exactly what they need to hear. No sugarcoating, no mind games. Just straight facts with good intentions. That's how Sigma males naturally communicate. But in a world where people are used to dancing around the truth, this directness often hits like a truck. Research shows that the average person hears about 200 lies a day, most of them small, polite lies. Sigma males are direct, so while others might say, "Let me get back to you," or "We'll see," their honest opinion, like, "That idea needs work," stands out for its straightforwardness. Dr. Thomas Harris explains it like this. It's like having a friend tell you there's food in your teeth. Some people appreciate the direct heads up, while others get offended that you didn't find a gentler way to say it. Direct communicators often face what experts call truth resistance, when others react negatively to honesty simply because they're not used to it. This is really confusing for a Sigma male. He's not being mean when he points out a flaw in a project or suggests a better way to do something. He's trying to help. Yet his honesty often gets labeled as harsh or insensitive by those who prefer comfortable lies over uncomfortable truths. The reactions can be pretty interesting. Some people get defensive, others take it personally. A simple "that won't work because" can trigger an emotional response that seems way over the top. Meanwhile, the Sigma male is left wondering why stating facts has turned into such a big deal. What's funny is how the same people who call him too direct often come back later for his honest opinion. They might not like his straightforward style, but they know he'll tell them the truth when everyone else is just telling them what they want to hear. But here's the thing about Sigma males. They won't change their communication style just to make insecure people comfortable. Because in their mind, honest communication isn't a problem to fix. It's a solution to most problems. Number 4. Feeling overwhelmed by the irrationality of others. Have you ever felt like banging your head against a wall while watching others make simple things complicated? For Sigma males, this is a daily struggle. They see the straightforward path while everyone else seems determined to take the longest, messiest route possible. Think about that team meeting where a 1-minute solution turns into an hour-long debate, or when someone turns a simple yes/no decision into an emotional marathon. The Sigma male sits there, seeing the clear answer, knowing that pointing it out will probably just make things worse. Dr. James Miller, who studies how people think, puts it simply. It's like watching someone use a hammer to cut bread when there's a perfectly good knife right there. For Sigma males, this kind of thing happens all day, every day. You see it everywhere. At work, where people stick to slow, outdated methods just because that's how we've always done it. In friend groups, where a simple plan becomes a complicated drama. In families, where the easiest solution gets ignored because it's more complicated than that. The worst part is having to watch it all happen in slow motion. When a Sigma male suggests the obvious solution, people often push back. You're not being sensitive enough. You need to consider everyone's feelings. Meanwhile, the problem that could have been solved in minutes drags on for days or weeks. That's why many Sigma males prefer to keep quiet. Not because they don't care, but because they've learned that most people would rather stick with familiar problems than try simple solutions. It's like knowing the shortcut but having to follow the group taking the long way around. This isn't just annoying. It's exhausting. Because watching people choose the hard way over and over gets really old really fast. Number 5. Struggling to find like-minded people. Here's a strange fact. In a world of over 7 billion people, Finding someone who truly gets you can feel impossible. And for Sigma males, this search is like trying to find a specific puzzle piece in a room full of pieces that almost fit, but not quite. It's not about being picky. It's about that rare feeling when you meet someone who operates on the same frequency, someone who seeks substance over small talk, who doesn't drain your energy, who can keep up with your thoughts. These connections are so rare that when Sigma males find them, they remember those conversations for years. Do you know that feeling when everyone's excited about something that leaves you cold? Maybe it's the latest viral trend, or office gossip, or social media drama. While others dive into these shallow waters, Sigma males look for deeper connections, meaningful conversations, real substance. The problem isn't meeting new people. That's easy. The challenge is finding people who understand why you'd rather discuss ideas than people, why you prefer one real friend to 100 casual ones, why you'd rather be alone than pretend to be someone you're not. Dr. Mark Thompson says, the brain actually releases different chemicals during deep, meaningful conversations compared to surface-level social interaction. Maybe that's why Sigma males feel so drained by shallow connections. They're literally not getting the same chemical reward others do. Finding like-minded people isn't impossible, but it's like searching for diamonds in a world obsessed with collecting rocks. When you do find them, though, something clicks. No need to explain yourself. No pressure to be more outgoing. Just natural understanding. Until then, Sigma males often find themselves in a peculiar spot, surrounded by people, but feeling like they're watching life through a slightly different lens than everyone else. Number 6. Struggling to explain your perspective. You lay it out as clear as day, step by step, simple logic. Yet somehow, people still don't get it. And for Sigma males, this is more than frustrating. It's like speaking a language that sounds like English, but nobody quite understands. It's not about being smarter. It's about seeing things from multiple angles while others focus on just one. Where most people see a straight line from A to B, a Sigma male sees a whole web of connections, consequences, and possibilities. Trying to explain this bigger picture to someone who only wants the simple version is where things get tricky. The real challenge comes when you try to break down complex ideas. You start explaining, watching their eyes glaze over. So you simplify it even more. But in making it simpler, you lose the important details, the very things that make your perspective valuable in the first place. Take solving a problem at work. While others jump at the quick fix, you see how that solution might cause 3 new problems down the road. Try explaining that though, and you'll often hear, "You're overthinking it," or "Let's just keep it simple." What's really exhausting isn't the explaining itself. It's watching people make predictable mistakes because they couldn't or wouldn't understand your warning. It's like seeing someone about to step into a hole, telling them about the hole, explaining why the hole is there, and then watching them step in anyway. The hardest part is knowing when to stop trying to explain. Because sometimes, letting people learn the hard way is easier than trying to help them see what you see. For a Sigma, this isn't about being right. It's about the mental toll of constantly translating complex thinking into simple terms, only to be dismissed as complicated or overthinking. Sometimes, staying quiet feels like the only way to keep your sanity. Number 7. Resisting authority by default. It's not about being rebellious. It's about questioning things that don't make sense. When someone says, "Because I said so," or "That's just how we do it," a Sigma male's brain automatically starts picking apart the logic. Not to cause trouble, but because blind following goes against their nature. Here's the thing. Sigma males don't have a problem with authority itself. They have a problem with authority that can't explain its reasoning. When a rule or decision makes logical sense, they're fully on board. But when it doesn't, that's when the questions start. Dr. Robert Chen, who studies how workplaces work, says, "Some individuals have a natural authority testing response. They need to understand the why before accepting the what. This isn't defiance. It's a different way of processing instructions. This happens in many situations. At work, when policies don't make sense. In social settings, when traditions seem pointless. In relationships, when someone expects obedience without explanation. Each time, the Sigma male finds himself asking why, while others just agree and go along. The problem is that this natural questioning often gets misinterpreted. Bosses see it as challenging their authority. Friends think you're being difficult. Family members label you as stubborn. You're not trying to start trouble. You just can't pretend something makes sense when it doesn't. What's frustrating is how this resistance to blind authority often creates unnecessary tension. You become that guy who always asks questions in meetings, the one who needs everything explained, the troublemaker who won't just go with the flow. But here's what others don't get. Sigma males actually make great team players when leadership makes sense. Give them logical reasons, show them the purpose behind decisions, and they'll not only follow, they'll improve the process. Because their questioning isn't about resistance, it's about understanding.